The following podcast is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is advised. The views and opinions expressed on this episode are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily represent the views and opinions of EMX or EMP, but whether it does or not ain't none of your goddamn business.
I am Magneto. You are nothing.
EMX episode 88. Don't forget, we do have a Patreon account, www.patreon.com/EMPcast, where you can help by donating to the show for as little as $1 a month. You get certain exclusives. You get early access, 30 days early access to EMBS, where we just kind of shoot the breeze for an hour talking all things pop culture. Then there are specific things like mugs and sometimes comics, sketches from Alex, and even some customized figures from our friend Viet. So do us a solid, hit us up on Patreon and help donate to the show to keep the lights on and hosting and all that other stuff.
And how?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I've got. That's my contribution to that.
Fantastic. Maybe we can. Yeah, like you have a Patreon too, don't you, Thatcher?
I do in fact have a Patreon located conveniently at patreon.com/demonweasel, like most of my other social media accounts. Branding, son, get on it.
Hell yeah. So if you're gonna, support us, of course.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna support another one, definitely Thatcher.
You've already got your wallet out. You're already on the website. I mean, come on.
Yeah, just
what's
another couple dollars a month?
What's another $3? It's $3 or $6 or $9. Which is either one. It's either one of those three.
Is this the point where you tell the
fine.
kids to take the things out their mommy's purse? Take the card out your mommy's purse?
Yeah. Read all the numbers, front and back.
The best selling point we got is come on.
What do you have to? Yeah, it's like, what am I running for president? What's the worst you could do? Come on. How bad could it be? Well, we all know the answer now, don't we?
Yeah. Insert the Bernie meme once again.
And once again.
Once again, I'm
you to
asking
support
you.
my Patreon.
Patreon for all.
Yes. I absolutely support. Candidate Cleveland supports Patreon for all. It's a campaign promise you can take to the bank, specifically my bank and my bank account.
All right. Anyways, what have you been up to, Foreman?
Nothing, just looking after these kids. You know how you don't know how it goes, but believe me, it's a handful. It's a handful with the situation because they're both home from school. So between juggling work and school and everything household, it's just been really tiring.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, anyone who is trying to go through all this quarantine stuff, and also deal with like trying to make kids learn. Oof. I don't envy you people.
And what about you guys? Well, I know you've been. How did your 12-hour streaming marathon thing go?
It turned out pretty well, actually. I was able to raise $220, which is like I set it for the minimum goal, which is $100. So I exceed that. So that's great. For feedingamerica.org, which like they supply and donate to food banks all over the U.S. So that's really good, and I was super productive because I worked for 12 hours straight. So it was like a win-win.
It's kind of a shame you can't do that for writing. It would just be like really boring. You're just like staring at me in the face for like 12 hours.
You would, but there's probably I would like the fact that people want to watch me paint is really weird, but people seem to like it. So if people saw what you were writing, they might be into it. I don't know if that's a thing, but you should look into
it. The problem is I don't want them to see what I'm writing.
That's true.
I'm like, this is going to be terrible. I gotta do stuff to it before people look at it.
But I guess it would be a little different where, like, I can paint and still talk to people. Like writing would, like, you kind of need some full concentration on.
Yeah. The best I could do probably would be lettering stuff, and I don't have any lettering.
Which people would probably be into doing or into watching.
Yeah. So hey, folks, if it happens, I'll let you know. You'll be in the top 10 of people that know.
Yeah, dude, I went through like a big learning experience in this past month or two, and I can definitely get you started and on how to do all that stuff and make a little bit of money while doing it.
Yeah, folks, if you have the opportunity to get a Viet in your life, you should do that. Because I got to tell you, let me brag on this dude for a while. He is hands down one of the most supportive and coolest friends that you could possibly have. I'm not saying get this Viet because I need him focusing a lot of attention on me, but if you can find one that's like that for you, that's just win-win.
Indeed.
So, yeah.
I do what I can, you know?
Yeah.
I got a lot of time on my hands with no kids and
yeah.
And no day job.
Yeah. My kid is grown and now living in another country with her stepmom or with her stepdad and mom, which is weird, but also, I'm kind of like, yeah, maybe you don't need to be in the U.S. for a while. Like, I was like, let us kind of even our stuff out here. And we'll let you know. We'll keep you posted. I'm in the process of finishing up one of the last collections, or the last collection of the urban fantasy short story series that I've been working on for way too long. But the thrilling conclusion of what is essentially this season of stories will be out by the end of the year. That's a campaign promise that I'm going to make to you people, and we'll try to keep it. But it's looking good. It's looking good for it may go live on on Amazon on like December 31st, but that still counts.
Yeah, that still counts, dude.
So yeah, it'll be before the end of the year. But other than that, trying not to shame my friends who are out there having social gatherings without masks and stuff. People, please stop doing that. I'd like to be able to go to conventions again sometime in my lifetime. So yeah.
Yeah, like I actually booked a comedy gig in January, and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, like we like you and I were talking about Captain's Comic-Con in February.
Yeah.
And even that's beginning to look too optimistic. Yeah. Which I can't take it, man. I can't take it. I gotta be out there. I love my girlfriend. I love our animals that we have living with us, but also I love not being around a lot of them all the time. And and I don't really get that. Yeah,
Space.
exactly. Like I don't need like I've got like an office back here in our house, but it's like kind of open. It's not like closed off or anything. And I've come to realize that I don't need a man cave. I need like a man vault, like a bank vault. Like I go in there and I set the timer for like 3 hours and nothing can bother. I'm like, no, this is my vault time. There we go. I'm the children of the vault. And, I'm sure time will definitely pass a lot faster in there. But yeah, I mean, that's about it,
Yeah, honestly, the Twitch streams have been like that for me. That's like one of the main best things about it, where it's just like it's when I sit there and I work completely with my like complete undivided attention, minus people chatting with me, like in the stream, but I'm still working the whole time, like for 3 hours straight. And like yesterday I did 12. So like, yeah, I got a lot done because of that. Just because I'm not like checking Facebook, I'm not checking emails, I'm not chatting with people. Like, yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's almost like it was like a hyperbolic time chamber, kind of thing. Like I got 7 Funko Pops done in that 12-hour stream, and I normally get like 3, maybe 4 done a week. So I'm just like, what the fuck have I been doing?
It's like, what am I going to do with all this extra time now?
Yeah, or I'm just like, like, what have I been doing like all these weeks?
Yeah.
And just to set the bar, like I do more I can do about that, but even then, like, tell people like to be conservative, about deadlines. I was like, look, that was like I can get like 2 done a week. And then I always like do like I always get done way earlier than people say, but I always just trying to be just setting the bar low.
Yeah, I mean it's the alternative. You don't want it to go the other way.
Yeah. But yeah, just staying busy. The holiday season is always very busy for me.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
people want Funko Pops of themselves, or their people that they're getting gifts of, or like their own comic characters and whatnot. So Santa, don't play.
Now we know why he has those.
You in the post office.
That's why he doesn't let those elves unionize.
Yeah.
You in the post office gonna become the best of friends again, huh?
Indeed. Like they know me. They know me by. Well, they don't know me by name, but they know when I come in. Like, I don't even have to wait in line anymore. I just set it off like to this one corner area, and they just know what to do with it. Like, and I just walk out. Like, it's like, here, you do your thing.
You need to get them to pick up directly. You need to have them just come to your door and pick up.
But like, I don't know, most of the stuff that I do, I think you can only do that with priority mail. And most of the stuff I try to go cheap and do it first class. But I probably could though, because our mail lady actually gives my dog treats. She's like one of those dog people where like all the dogs see the mail truck and they go crazy whenever they see it. Like, that's a treat, lady. I know it.
There's a Home Alone story in there somewhere.
Yeah. But I probably could, like, hey, can you take this package over there?
It's outgoing.
Yeah, we'll
important to make friends.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, I think we bullshitted enough.
Yeah, I mean, is it ever really enough? But I get what you're saying.
I mean, this is a
podcast.
Podcast. I think that's what we do here. Isn't that right?
We'll find out.
Somebody said so.
So, welcome to EMX. I am Vietwin, and with me, as always, is Corin Kroll.
President.
And now, and for as long as the X-Men books are continuing to be good, we have our new.
You make me sound like such a little bitch. Like, nah, as long as they're good, I'll keep reading them. They're really good right now.
Hey,
But that
you
quality
said it.
dips.
You
did.
said it, not me.
That's true. That's true. I did.
But yes, new permanent host for now. Thatcher E. Cleveland. What's up,
How's
man?
it going? Oh, it is what it is. These books. They're some of the brightest spots that we got going in comics right now. So that's no small feat. I will also say that this month's books, like as I was reading these were the ones with, and I get it. I mean, but the Chadwick Boseman Rest in Power top on it.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: Chadwick Boseman and I were born in the same year, so it's really depressing to the cover of every comic that I'm reading. And it's like, hey, this guy that was as old as you, he's dead. It's like, he had stuff wrong with him. It's like, yeah, but he's dead. That could happen to you. It's a bummer, man. Probably more of a bummer for his family and everything too, but it's a bummer.
Yeah, a little awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, we were trying to, I guess, but we had some schedule issues. It was just the three of us. And this will be 1 hour of uncut, uncensored, and unscripted conversation about the X-Men books covered in October 2020. Watch for spoilers. Hang on to your seats. Do we have the timer going? Ready?
Oh yeah, I might need that. I still not used
Yeah.
to that at
It's a
all.
good thing I pointed that out.
Yeah, good thing. Go.
We're starting now. All right. So normally we go down the line taking turns to pick books, but since the series is in order, we're just gonna go down the line. All right. So we have chapter 3 of it's 10 of Swords, right?
That's
10?
what they were. Yeah, that's what they were
Yes.
calling it at the X-Men panel at C2E2, aka the last big convention that probably happened at all this year.
Yeah. So chapter 3 of 22, we have Wolverine number 6, written by Benjamin Percy, Victor Bogdanovich. Ooh, I think I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
Good
and
job.
colors by Matthew Wilson, lettering by VC's Corey Petit.
Just a little bit of lettering. Got
Indeed.
Deep.
Yeah, he's got like the monopoly on all the lettering, it seems.
Yeah, the VC people, which I cannot remember what it stands for. Yeah, they're all
Virtual
oh,
calligraphy.
okay. That makes sense. Yeah.
I knew that one.
But yeah, they're as a wise man once said, they're all over these books like stink on a monkey.
I haven't been that close to a monkey to
Yeah,
verify.
you don't want to. Yeah.
But yeah, Wolverine gets a sword.
Yeah, this is.
Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, you going into this, you don't know what to expect. I mean, I think that's what really made this issue like really really good for me. I enjoyed it just because I did not expect it to be anything like this.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little weird in the first place where you're just like, why does everybody have swords? And then And like, okay, we're just gonna make the beginning story about them trying to get their swords. You're just like, oh, okay. And then, oh, by the way, there's this like Mortal Kombat like tournament that's gonna happen. You're just like, oh, right. And then you're just like X-Men and Mortal Kombat. Okay.
Which, and that's I think one of the things that's so cool about this this event, like overall, is that when you just break it down like that, like, oh, it's the X-Men doing a Mortal Kombat tournament with swords. It sounds kind of dumb. You'd be like, well, that's lame. That sounds like some 90s Mountain Dew nonsense.
Yeah.
But it's actually, spoiler alert for all the stuff that we're talking about tonight, they're all really good. Like, there's not really, to my mind, there's not really a dud in the bunch at all. And like it starts off with this slow burn of like, all right, we're going to do a Wolverine story. Because it's like in the first few parts, it's pretty obvious like who's getting like what swords and sort of from where. And so we knew it's like, oh, okay, Wolverine, he's definitely getting a sword. Because frankly, it would be just, mind-bogglingly stupid to not have Wolverine play a big role in a big X-Men event where people are cutting each other. Like, that's his whole thing.
Yeah. Although, I mean, I it's always funny to see Wolverine with a sword because he has like he has claws.
He's like I brought my own. I brought 6 of my own. I can't share, but they're here.
They're like, no, we need special swords. Oh,
yeah.
I was like, well, fuck you too.
and
fine.
I think one of the things that's kind of like interesting about this issue, because it's like both the story of like kind of hitting sort of like a Wolverine's greatest hits of his past, as he's trying to track down, this sword maker. But you also, it's the first time, and then we don't get it for a while later, but it's the first time we kind of get one of the main people that they're going to be facing, which is the people from Morocco, or this guy with that's hanging out, and it's been theoretically tortured in this pit for forever, when he's really just basically been chilling at like the world's worst Airbnb and still having a really good time.
Solomon,
yes,
is his name.
There we go.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's the and then we have the new like some actual character development with like the
mm-hmm. Yeah, you could go one-dimensional with this thing, but they're doing a really good job, as they have in the parts 1 through 3, of really kind of quickly fleshing out these basically interdimensional basses. And there's also Silver Samurai, who, as Wolverine makes a good point, like, hey, you're probably really cheesed off that we're doing a whole thing with swords, and that's literally your only power, and this is the only time that you're going to show up. He's like, yeah, don't rub it in, dickhead. It's like,
right.
What are you gonna do, man? I'm still gonna stab you and then find out some stuff.
Yeah, there's some yes, there's probably somebody on Krakoa, like his code name is literally like Sword. And he like woke up late and like, oh, are you fucking kidding me?
He's like, all right, it's time, it's Sword's time for where'd everyone go?
And I was like, oh crap, I forgot that Krakoa daylight savings.
No, you know what? If Krakoa is an advanced mutant civilization that's the future of like human and mutant society, they don't have daylight savings time there. Forget that. That's one of the first things they got rid of. They're like, nah, that's some human bullshit. We're not doing that. We don't need to farm. We're good. The whole island does farming for us. We're fine.
Yeah, then they just woke up late. Like, oh no, today's the sword day. Oh, Anyways, but yeah,
So,
Muramasa blade, like that's the one that can
mhm.
kill Wolverine, right?
Yes, and last we saw it, oh man, I'd
Yeah,
have to really
didn't
backtrack on
Daken
it.
have it
Dakin had
or
taken
something?
it, yeah, and melted it down and bonded it to his claws, and then Wolverine took his claws, and I kind of lost track of it from there. I remember in that all new Wolverine series, I think Tom Taylor had him make a shield for all new Wolverine X-23 at the time. So they're delving into some history here, and it was pretty fun to watch. Um, I love Mariko showing up and how much that still kind of hurts
Yeah.
him. That was a really good touch, and the artist messed up here unless Pestilence does fluctuate genders. Pestilence, he drew Pestilence as a male here, which he's usually a female and everything else.
Oh, is that the orb headed one? Okay. Because
Yes.
yeah, it's like they, occasionally I have trouble keeping track of things, but I'm like, all right, you got the orb headed guy, you got the jackal headed guy, the weird mask person, and then like the flame head lady, and they're like, here's the four horsemen. It's like, yeah, but you didn't tell me which is which yet, or they're hard to keep track of. Probably won't be by the end of this thing, but I mean, they're new, so.
Yeah.
Plus, there's hand ninjas, and they go to hell. So it really is like the greatest hits.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, forgot about the hand ninja, the extreme version, the ones that worship the beast. So I enjoyed this. As I said, didn't know what to expect going in, so I was pleasantly surprised through the trip down memory lane and actually how it just literally leads into the next issue where it's all about
Yeah.
Wolverine again.
I will say it's like when I first started reading it, because like the issue opens with the whole like Wolverine's in hell and he's in lava and all that jazz. And it's one of my least favorite Wolverine things ever, where it's like he's literally just down to a skeleton, but he still regenerates. I'm
Yeah.
like, come on, guys. But yeah. And the fact that it just seamlessly rolls into the next issue, like what we will probably do now, is
Well, I
pretty.
mean, like, yeah, back to that. Like, Benjamin Percy seems to do that. Like, he's almost like trolling X-Men fans. Like, because I mean, like, even in the beginning issues of this series, right? Like, he started up like, it's another Wolverine lost his memory, but he killed everybody. And then everyone's about to eye
Yep.
roll and like, oh, no, that's different. Like,
Yeah.
okay. And he's like, ooh, what's another Wolverine trope that people hate? And he just keeps on giving us like kind of bait and switching us,
Vampires.
Yeah.
which is kind of
Yeah.
interesting. It'd be interesting what he does next with it.
I will say that as we move on, I'm assuming to part 4, which
Mhm.
is X-Force number 13. One of the things that I found incredibly remarkable was the fact that it's basically the same creative team. It's Benjamin Percy
Yes.
again. It's Victor Bogdanovich again. Matt Wilson, different letter. VC's Joe Caramagna. But yeah, I was just like, oh snap, these guys just went 2 for 2. You don't see that a lot nowadays.
Well, I'm sure the corona kind of set things off because wasn't this thing supposed to even be a smaller? Was it always supposed to be 22 issues?
I do not know. I don't know if they made any changes because of that.
Was Benjamin Percy
I think it was
doing
supposed to be
this
smaller.
book earlier?
Yes, I'm pretty certain
Okay.
he was writing. He was writing X-Force. I can double check on that, but somebody has done to the issue while I do that.
And well, I guess yeah, it's just a continuation. It's like it's Wolverine Part 2.
Yeah, it's Wolverine. He and Solemn meet up in hell. Surprise, surprise. Solemn has adamantium skin. So that'll be a problem.
Yep.
Except, of course, for the Muramasa blade, we get more fun Arako things where Solemn shows up to your typical creepy blind cave witch. He's like, "Hey, tell me about this Muramasa fellow," and it kind of rolls from there. And it's a nice sort of slow start to this month's books. I kind of like the idea of them taking Muramasa and basically conscripting him into being the Hand's personal sword guy in hell, working for the beast. That's kind of a spooky concept. But he makes the two swords, and both Wolverine and Solemn get one. And it's and we get the first of our, I guess it's the second of our book ending with people standing on their mark on Krakoa
that are made from the remains of Rockslide.
Yeah.
I love the twist to it, especially if you know your Hand history with the Beast and Daredevil and all this other stuff. Enjoyed it a lot. Now, interspersed throughout these issues too, there's little hints of Otherworld and the different kingdoms and stuff. So I actually did a webpage. So if you go to our earthmightiespodcast.com webpage, near the top you'll see there's actually a link to Otherworld map, and I mapped out the whole Otherworld with this information infographic is the word I'm looking for. So if you guys are interested in the different kingdoms as they talk about it through the series, you got something to interact with right there online.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, and that's one thing they're probably missing is, but they're probably worried about page count and everything. But if they get like a postcard of Otherworld that you can kind of look off of. So just okay, or the fact that they mention these lands but it's not really involved in the issue at all makes it a little kind of frustrating, because I was like, I'm not gonna remember this shit.
That is, honestly, if this whole thing has a weakness, it's the fact that they are throwing, they're just hitting you in the face with a fire hose of new, wild characters and places and information. Every issue has, I think it's one, maybe two sometimes, of these kingdoms with their, kind of a brief rundown of their history. I will say that Corwin, that your map is definitely very helpful when it comes to, what is this? It lays it out a little bit more visually. I know you took the visuals from, what they've put, from the issues and what they've put in the books, but not every one of those things. In this one, in the X-Force one, where they're talking about in Fury, the Everforge, it's got the same thing that you've got there, where it's you got Earth at the top, and then Krakoa, and then the Avalon Gate, and the Ring of All Them, and then Arako, and Immense down the bottom. They just have the skeleton of that, basically, because obviously you can't print stuff that small on there, but being able to have that up is an immense help while you're reading this, because you're wait, what's this thing? And and then as you get to the, as we get to the end, it's hey, here are all these people, and they're sort of who you were talking about, because you guys did your homework, right? And we all kind of mumble and look at our shoes, and we're yeah, sure, we totally did.
Mm-hmm.
No, I can totally pick out the hot hive on a map of the different things. I can absolutely do that.
Yeah, I was do I know where Blind Spoke is? I mean, do you?
Seriously, and the thing is too, it doesn't interact with the story, at least for right now. So it's kind
Exactly.
of just like
Yeah, like this
non-related
this
data.
needs to be like an Ohatmu, you know, like a official handbook
Yeah,
of the Marvel
and
universe.
Yeah.
and not only that, this is the first issue where we get basically your sword trading card information, where if you ever wanted to know how long and how much the Muramasa blade weighs, now
Yeah,
you know.
like this.
It's 80 centimeters long and 1,421 grams. I mean, you got people on the internet saying that the Muramasa blade weighs over 1,500 grams. And let me tell you, those people are idiots. They don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah, it's fake news.
I don't think anybody cares.
Exactly, but it's like, it's just cool to have. It is exactly like Viet was saying, like an official handbook type of thing. And honestly, sometimes when I was a kid, I would get those things and I would just read them cover to cover. Like, I don't know who these people are,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna read the whole thing about Sasquatch, and now I'm gonna know everything about Sasquatch for
Yeah.
no good reason.
Yeah, like if they were smart, they would make like a D&D book, type of thing. Like like D&D had like just a book of weapons, right? That's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember, like, I never played D&D, but I looked through my friend's weapons book because I was just fascinated with the weapons, and they should be doing that with this.
All right. Speaking of weapons, we're gonna move on to Marauders 13, which is like double sized, might I add. Written by Vita. How do you say that? Ayala.
Yeah.
Mateo Lally on art, Edgar Delgado on colors, and Corey Petit
I will say real
on
quick
the
that there
letters.
is a Ten of Swords handbook that is sort of like the best. I'm kind of like going through it right now, but it's basically like an official Marvel handbook style thing,
Oh, okay.
talking about
Yeah.
like the different Captain
Yeah.
Britons and Brew, and I'm just like zipping through it real fast. But
It's set up to Ten of Swords. It's not really anything related to any of the data from it. So, it's kind of a data dump beforehand, so you know who the characters are and what they're about. Um, so yeah, Marauders, which was pretty much double size, is all about Storm and how she acquires her weapon, which is one of the treasures from Wakanda. So immediately throws her into conflict with Shuri and her mother, since T'Challa isn't there, and of course Storm can't wait for him, since what do they have, 2 days before they need to show
yeah,
up?
they got the hardcore ticking clock going on.
Yeah. So Storm has to actually go in and steal it, and then of course, when she does get her hands on it, she has to face down Shuri, and of all things, at the end of it, here comes T'Challa, who of course she has been trying to call in contact, and he hasn't gotten back to her. So yeah.
I will say that the Storm versus Shuri and Wakanda as a whole, it's probably one of the better instances of a superhero story where you have to make heroes fight. So it's like, like back in the old days, it'd be like, oh, the Avengers and the X-Men showed up at the same park, and they're like, who's that guy? Oh, is that a Hulk? And then someone starts shooting at each other, and then they fight for half the issue, and then it's like, oh, LOL, we're on the same side. Like in this, it's like there's both Storm and Shuri, and to a larger extent Wakanda, have they have like legitimate concerns. Like, no one is the bad guy here. Like, no one really makes a mistake. Like, Storm has to do this because she's like, yeah, I get it. If I steal this, priceless artifact from you guys that's been around since the very beginning of Wakanda, people are going to be really upset and they're going to cause problems. But these interdimensional people that will basically destroy, all of Earth would make them more upset. So, we're gonna.
What part of I have to join a Mortal Kombat tournament to fight for our world? Do you not understand?
Yeah, she's like, wait a second, you guys are like a super advanced civilization. Did you not have Mortal Kombat? Because we might have to take that super advanced civilization part away from you guys if you didn't.
Storm literally just said, "Do you like Mortal Kombat? Because this is how you get Mortal Kombat."
I'm doing a Mortal Kombat. Give me your sword. Don't make me repeat myself.
Or I guess you could say,
I love
these are swords, right? So this is actually Soul Calibur. Let
There
me
you go.
pull that reference.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I love the fact that by the end of it all, after everything she goes through, T'Challa finally shows up, and then he's just like, "I would have given it to you if
Yeah.
you'd have asked."
And we're
Like,
like, maybe you should answer your Avengers phone, asshole.
It's like literally everyone has a cell phone. Like, you've got like a super high-tech, awesome piece of skin-tight vibranium armor. You're telling me,
No cell
you're
signal.
telling me that you didn't put a fucking cell phone in there.
Yeah,
That's what you're telling me.
Like, you've been ghosting me and you live in a celestial. So
It's like, do I have to get your pager number? Is that where we're at? What's your ICQ number? I'll go ahead and send you a message that way. Yeah,
Oh, wow,
that's a
you took
deep
it back.
cut. That is a
Yeah.
deep
Get back
cut.
with that one.
Yeah,
Kids, ICQ was a chat thing from. Well, we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that.
yeah,
Go to your
we
Wikipedia.
don't. So.
we reference Soul Calibur and ICQ.
At least we didn't say Dreamcast, but take us to the next issue, whoever.
My one gripe about Marauders is that we haven't seen Kitty kill Sebastian Shaw yet.
Yeah.
The fate of the universe.
Right, but I just mean like
Mortal
there's
Kombat
been a
stuff.
whole build up, like 2 issues or 2 or 3 issues of her like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. And we haven't gotten it yet.
Yeah, they're like,
because
Well, they're gonna plant.
yeah, because we've been interrupted by Mortal Kombat.
yeah, we have to do a Mortal Kombat, but trust me, as soon as we're done, when we run out of quarters, the first thing that we're gonna do is kill Shaw. I promise.
All right,
Yeah.
before we run out of time, so Hellion 6, Zeb Wells writing, Carmen Carnero on art, David Curiel on colors, and VC's Arana Maher on letters.
I
really don't like Empath.
Yeah,
He needs to die
like,
again.
yeah, if anyone, like if you like Empath is absolutely hands down, and I didn't think this was possible, but the shittiest person on Krakoa, just bar none. But this issue is pretty great. Like, I really like, we see a lot more sort of like a wider range of people, and we get Sinister in his plumage being sinister in his plumage. Like, I don't like who designed the Quiet Council so that the guys with the 2 biggest and most intricate capes sit next to each other. Like, him and Exit, like, they're right there. You've like 10 seats. Why are you sitting those guys? They're going to get tangled up every time. Like, one guy's get up to go to the bathroom, and it's like, oh, you're caught on my thing. You're caught on my thing. But everything about this was hilarious and amazing. Like, Mr. arguing with his clone, and then arguing about, like, wait, no, I unfroze you, so you go. And he's like, no, you unfroze me so I could stay, and you can go.
Who Oh no, it wasn't you guys. There was a discussion about plumage, and I forgot what artist it was, but there was like a rock artist where plumage was their thing. Continue on, and I'll see if I could find it, because I thought it was ingenious.
But I mean, yeah, like the running gag with Mr. Sinister, it's like, I love that cape.
Yeah. The whole rest of the trip, he's like, I'm gonna need a cape. So I'm glad we're going to a place where there's going to be a lot of capes. Magneto, I'd like to change my vote when they're like, hey, we're not going to send Mr. Sinister. And then he's like, he's a dick. And then Magneto's like, no, you know what? Never mind. Off he goes.
Brian Eno. Does that name ring a bell?
Yes. He's a singer in or maybe he's just a musician.
Yeah, Roxy Music, and also work with David Bowie.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it is. I know him from the boat. Yeah, so he's probably responsible for a lot of Bowie plumage. But yeah, I mean, it's just, again, this book was just getting started. Like they just managed to like eke out a quick little arc before we went down, the Mortal Kombat rabbit hole. But it's all like I feel like it's already there, like it's already gelling. Like the scenes where where it's Havoc and Grey Crow, Annie and Orphan Maker, and them like hanging out talking about the mission. Like already got the vibe for these people down. Like they've already got all the good sort of like beats with each other. So I'm excited. I really it gets me more excited for this book post Ten of Swords.
Agreed. I love how Jamie Braddock took Sinister's cape.
Jamie Braddock, man, like absolute king of the mutant, like meth and crackheads. Like
Yeah.
he's a delight. He is an absolute delight.
Yeah, it's like you want to hate him, but he's just so weird. He's just like a lovable asshole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not like in the way where like Empath is like straight up just like an asshole.
Yeah, like more of like I guess more of like a chaotic. Just yeah.
Yeah. But next issue, New Mutants 13, part 7 of 22, where we have our intrepid creative team of Ed Brisson writing, Rod Rice artisting, and BC's Travis Lanham legging. And this one, I like that they kind of slowed it down in this issue, because I feel like it was almost overlooked that they were like, oh, hey, by the way, one of the people that's going to participate in your combat is going to be Cypher. Yeah, the guy who can never fight. And his whole big thing is that he died that one time. And Warlock becoming the Warlock sword. And him training with Majik about, hey, so how am I going to do a sword?
Without any real fighting
exactly
skills.
And not to mention the overall, like the overarching question of like, if he gets killed, which seems highly likely, who's going to talk to Krakoa? He can't come back, since he's basically he's like one of the most important people on the island.
Yeah.
I think Apocalypse can talk to Krakoa, but of course, nobody really wants to.
Exactly.
And
Krakoa doesn't want to talk to him. She's like, yeah, I can, but I mean, this fucking guy, really? And they have Krakoa talk to him through Mondo, which is apparently not either one of them.
Yeah, Mondo's not a fan.
Everybody wants to be a skin suit.
I think one of the things that's very cool about this is they begin, like they give you a sort of like a little glimmer of hope for Cypher, in that he can, like the notion of reading body language in a fight.
I mean, they had him. Well, this was post Necroshow, and I think when he was half uh, Technarchy, but they did have him kicking some ass, being able to read body language. So it's not
Yeah, it's just
uncalled
like,
for.
hasn't that been a thing? Yeah, it's like
Oh yeah,
I want to say that was a. It's like, wasn't that a thing? And I think I remember in what, like maybe Second Coming, where he learned computer code, and he was able like to talk to machines or something, like, and then he was getting like the people that were like piloting like mechs and stuff to go to like to kill each other basically.
there's fun ways to play with his power. You just gotta
Yeah,
keep it consistent.
but yeah,
One,
it's a good idea though. We're just like, yeah, he can read yeah, people's fighting styles like a language.
I thought when Exodus showed up, I thought they were gonna like basically be like, we're gonna do a body switch. We're gonna drop someone else in your body. So technically, it'll be you and Warlock fighting, but we'll have someone who can actually fight in your body. They didn't do that, but I thought that would have been an interesting. I mean, it's more interesting to give Doug the character development and all that jazz to like kind of be cool. Um, but
Or do like a Matrix and just be like, I know kung fu. And be like,
uh,
hey, here's the mind, here's the memories of a swordsman. Take that.
Yeah. Read this book on being a
yeah.
swordsman. Wait, that doesn't work. That's not you. That's the other guy. But yeah, it's sort of, we get, Majik and Doug, kind of hanging out, doing their thing. And once again, go take your mark on the circle.
So, how long do they have? Do they have like 2 days?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
so
so.
like, yeah,
2 or
like, so
3
they
days.
they planted their swords and they're just all just kind of camping out there till everyone.
Yes, but luckily
Right.
you'll see in some future issues we cover that they'll actually sit down and leave those
Yeah.
spots for a bit.
They're just like, come on, guys, I gotta pee.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like, look, the Krakoa has made you a bucket. You can just use that.
All right,
Uh,
moving on to Cable number 5, part 8 of 22, written by Jerry Duggan and art by Phil Noto.
So we actually get a other kind of sword, which I liked. We are dealing with the Swords Space Station, which is the acronym for Sentient World Observation Research and Development, or I forgot what the R and the D stand
There's
for.
one min that uses the entire space station as their sword.
he's just a giant. He's like, oh, he's like, basically, I'm just gonna throw a space station at you. That's so
Yeah.
funny. I didn't even
And
like put that together as a thing. Um, so that is,
it's
yeah,
defense.
World
Sentient
Operation
World
and Response
Observation
Department.
Response Department. There we go.
Yeah,
So I was close. I got the first part of it. So, and then of course, I'm curious because in this one we do get mention of this blight spoke land out of Otherworld, and I'm curious if that's what attacked the station and what Cyclops and Jean and Cable are kind of dealing with, but um, they don't get too far into it. But I do like that it's a bit of a sci-fi twist, stuck in space with these beings
Yeah.
coming after them.
once again, scientists, can we do a thing as opposed to should we do a thing? It never works out.
Is this isn't where they mentioned the builders, right? That's later. That's later on.
You got me on that one. I don't even remember them
Okay,
mentioning the
like
builders.
there might have been an issue or something where they talked about a land or a space station that was Or it was. Oh, this is what it was like. They're talking about Galador. I think was destroyed by the
Oh,
builders.
okay.
So there's your Hickman
Oh,
reference,
yes.
and
To invent
yeah, and
fast.
I forgot to lay the claim. Oh, when we were talking about like all these lands and information and homework, we're like, yeah, this story is Hickman as fuck
Yeah,
by
it
doing that.
really is. And I get it. I know we got people in the fam that don't like Hickman.
Hmm.
I can see why. I respectfully disagree. Um, this this whole thing especially, I feel like this is Hickman at his best. I feel like we're seeing some of the best Hickman stuff outside of a lot of his creator-owned work.
Yeah, I agree.
It's it's phenomenal. Um, I do like how they make fun of Cable, like younger Cable through this. Well, it's like, well, I'm glad you have a sword, so that you're not just shooting everything. And he's just sort of like, yeah, I can shoot stuff with a sword too.
Yeah, but he's also like talking to his dad, where he literally that's all he does is shoot things out
Yeah,
of his eyes.
that really is like, I learned it from watching you, Dad.
I like that near the end of the issue, Magic and Cyclops have this little exchange of terms. They're speaking in code, obviously, for something that they have planned, which I really like. And I'm trying to remember if we had some kind of code like this during House of X or Powers of 10, where something with rain, but it's going to come up again later. So Cyclops has got something bubbling in the background.
That Cyclops guy, he always has plans.
Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, a lot of them
Plans.
suck, but he still at least has the plan. He puts in the effort, and that's what we respect.
Cyclops be planning.
All right, we got about 3 issues left, and we got about 20 minutes, so we are actually making good time. I know this stasis is probably going to be longer than usual, so
Mm-hmm.
who wants to tackle Excalibur 13, which is written by Teeny Howard, art by the wonderful R.B. Silva, and Woodard Nolan on colors, VC's Armania Mayer once again on lettering.
And
Wild.
Go, Via.
good.
I was just gonna say, like, Wild. I mean, your traditional Wild Excalibur stuff in this issue, and I know, like, we've kind of given the Excalibur title a little bit of grief since it started. I'll fully admit that. It has not been my most favorite of these new X-Men books, not because I think it's bad. It's just one of those things where it's like, it's just not really for me. Like, this wasn't, like, this aspect of X-Men stuff was never what I was really into. Like, it was just exceptionally weird and esoteric, and in a lot of ways, because a lot of it started with, weird and esoteric Alan Moore stuff that, then Chris Claremont took over and he put his own weird esoteric spin on things. And now it's, even worse. But this, like this issue seems like it basically takes all, for the most part, like all the stuff that was in the previous 12 issues and is like, this is why we were doing this. Not only this is why we were doing this because we were laying the groundwork for this whole event, but sort of like, with the whole, like, we've got extra, like, a rogue Captain Britain and a Gambit Captain Britain and a Jubilee Captain Britain and a Richter Captain Britain and, like, all these other, like, weird multiversal Captain Britain people. And also Brian Braddock comes back, and guess what? He's got his own sword.
Yeah, that was the interesting twist where like, wait, he's gonna be one of the swordsmen too? You know, just like, but he's not a mutant, right?
Yeah, the new Captain Avalon with pretty fancy threads.
hmm
I gotta say that's a good costume design.
Yeah, I also enjoy the costume, but yeah, like this, like you were saying, like Teeny Howard, it just seems like with her Marvel books, like even with why can't I think of the name? Um, the group with Blade and Winter Soldier. Why can't I think? Yeah,
Oh,
Strike
Strike
Force.
Force.
Even like that, like she has like a lot of threads. Like like her stories kind of go all over the place, and it bounces around a lot, and it's hard for me personally to follow. And like it's one of those things where like I'm just gonna have to read through them again, and we're just like, wait. I was just like, okay, wait, which Captain Britain is this? And like, wait, like, cause what, like, wait, where's Morgan Le Fay? And is this the same Captain Britain, or it's like,
It is funny because when uh, Brian Braddock was making out with Saturn IX, I was like, oh, dude, you married? What are you doing? And then it's
mhm.
like, aha,
Yeah. And then
it's
yeah,
a
she just
twist.
went yoink.
I'll take that Starlight Sword. Thank you very much. And she has like a cool, almost Sailor Moon type moment where it's like, I got the sword, and they hold it up in the air. I think that's one of the things. Like it's a little thing that objectively you could say is kind of corny, but the fact that for the most part, when these people get these swords, they get to do a cool like action pose with the sword. Like
Yeah.
it's still kind of boss though, because I mean, you've got some special like cosmic magic super sword, and you pulled it out for the first time, you'd be like, "Whoa, check out my sword!"
Yeah, with with some 80s like guitar riff, like wow.
Yeah, just speed lines in the back of you, just going crazy. It's like,
and and I just love the fact that like Saturnine, this all powerful, like person where she's just like, all right, game respects game. Like, doesn't try to
oh,
take it back or anything. We're just
like,
like,
oh, you got me again, you Braddock.
All right. X-Men 13, X of Swords, Part 10 of 22, written by Jonathan Hickman, Mahout Ashrar on art, Sunny Go on colors, and Clayton Cowles on letters. So,
This
the
is where it gets
grass
kind of
cutter and the
hardcore.
god killer.
which, if you know your stuff, we've already seen those back in Secret Warriors, when Gorgon killed Phobos, the son of Ares, the son of God of War. What was his name? Was it
Yeah,
Ares?
Ares
Yeah.
is,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was Ares. So, little cool callback there. But I like to see how Apocalypse was affected by the sneak attack between uh, Pestilence and Summoner, and how even in his psyche they were messing with him previously. But now we see the original story of how he lost his family, and we see the mask of Amenth. So we get more of the origin, which I really like how they kind of build and explain and connect things, and we see how Genesis um, was led to leave Apocalypse, and just the whole goodbye and how he wants to come, and she's like, "You're not strong enough," and you just wouldn't expect something like that from
mhm.
Apocalypse.
Yeah, you're
You know,
talking about like
they
one of the
really
strongest beings on Earth, and you're just like, yeah, you kind of suck. So
and how she's even like, you need to get them ready, you need to judge them, my love, make them stronger, so only the fittest may survive. So his whole mantra, they kind of turned on edge now as well, with why he's doing what he's doing.
Yeah,
and then
and it
he
kind
gets
of
a dope ass sword.
yeah. And then like yeah, just the fact that like this whole time, where he's like only the strong may survive, like that's his whole thing. And then turns out that, like no, seriously, I need to get a group together for Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, it's like you almost want to be like, hey, you know what, N Naba sir, can I call you N? So N, listen, maybe if you just sat down with us over a cup of coffee and explained what was going on, we could have handled things pretty differently, as opposed to you being just basically a massive dickhole about killing everyone and being like, well, if you get killed, I guess you suck.
Yeah.
Then sucks to suck.
Yeah. When you say you need to get back to your family, like on the other dimension, from another dimension, maybe you should probably leave the genocide apart.
Yeah, or the fact that hey, we're we're going to be expecting a massive extra dimensional invasion at some point in the near future. So yeah, but it's cool that that we get, again, you almost kind of feel bad for Silver Samurai because he was originally he was the original dude with a sword, and then Gorgon, who just got here basically. He's like, "Oh, I'm going? Okay, cool. Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, come on." And he's like, I killed Wolverine in basically my first appearance, so I'm kind of a big deal."
Or like it's one of those like gags where he points in Silver Samurai's direction, like, all right, you. And then
yes.
Silver Samurai's like, yes. And they're like, no, move out of the way. And it's like Gorgon like standing behind him.
It's like, oh, come on. That guy's basically me. They could have just used me in that part and it would have been fine. Mark Miller just wanted to make up a new guy. He could have just used me, but he didn't. Thank you guys.
So, looking in on the story, the echoes of the Quiet Council and this original mutant utopia here, where you have Krakoa and Araco together, when everything was one, how it echoes what we have now. I like that touch to it. We do see that there is a female summoner back in the day that went with them.
Mm-hmm.
Not really sure if that's going to lead to anything, but
I think isn't she one of the Araco sword bearers? I mean, I guess.
No, this is a female.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
This one's female. And I did take note that Genesis, Apocalypse's wife, her energy signature for what she does is green, and it's all earth-based with plants and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if there's a connection between her and Richter.
Oh, yeah.
Apocalypse has been leaning towards Richter lately for lots of things. Maybe it was just for the gate, but it does seem like there could be some kind of connection between him and
wasn't
Genesis
Kid Apocalypse? Wasn't his codename Genesis?
Actually, it was.
Well, there you go. Now, an interesting thing is, there's that page where it's got, you've got Krakoa and Araco, and then, Apocalypse and Genesis and their kids and the Summoner and the new folks that show up. It makes me wonder if what we're looking at is basically sort of foreshadowing of things to come post this event.
And I think it's Okara. You probably just ran with Corin's mispronunciation as Corin is wont to do.
Well, Araco is when they split, but yes, here when they're together, it is Okara. Okay. You are correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then they're,
the description of the Scarab sword with the attribute is imbued with external sadness. It just made me laugh. I was just like, girl, same.
like, you emo dork. Like, you've got a cool, like, sword and everything. It's like, yeah, it's imbued with the external sadness. It's like, lame. Somebody play the Cure for this guy using the Scarab sword.
Well, that's exactly why he put his sword to rest.
Now I'm just picturing like that, a menacing looking like Apocalypse, but with like the hair that's like covering one eye.
Anyway, and it was actually forged by Iska, his sister-in-law.
By the way, I just did I don't say I just did the math. I had Google do the math. Now again, like they throw out these stuff like these are the the lengths and weights of these swords. You'll notice that the Scarab sword weighs 680,388 grams. Now, according to Google, that is nearly 1,500 pounds.
Shit.
Yeah, that's a lot of sadness.
Yeah, so don't drop it. Like
on your toe.
But yeah. It is cool. Like, I love that we get more. Honestly, because I'll be honest with you, Apocalypse has never been one of my favorite X-Men villains. Like, I get it. Like, he looks cool. His powers are weird, and like they seem to change based on who's writing him. His shtick, the worthy or whatever, the strongest must survive, blah 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 blah. I've never really found him very interesting until this specific event where they're really kind of getting into, some more nuts and bolts of this is why he is what he is, and this is his incredibly weird and messed up backstory.
I'm sure if I dig, there's a few here or there that were pretty good, but yeah, for the most part, they one-noted him. So this was a welcome change. I'm a little bit worried that they're gonna make him they're gonna go a little bit too far in trying to make him relatable, because we all know that Ameth is gonna have to end up being Genesis. I mean, there's just too many hints and stuff that they pointed out for it not to be. I mean, it's gonna be no surprise.
Have we seen Kid Apocalypse?
No, we may have seen him in the background, but I don't really think he's had a talking role in anything. And I mean, if you even think about it, there's other descendants of Apocalypse. You have Chamber, you have Blink. There's other descendants of his that are around on Krakoa.
Yeah, there's like in Krakoa, like on the missions, they're just like, yeah, it's no apocalypses. We're allowed to have one. So Genesis, you can stay home.
No, we have an apocalypse. All right, so let's head into the grand finale. 10 of Swords Stasis #1. Let me get back to the credits page. It's a long book.
Yep.
I'll stop the timer. We've got like 5 minutes, but it doesn't even matter. We got Hickman and Teeny Howard on writing, Pepila Razmuhad Asrar on art, Marte Gracia on colors, and Clayton Cowles on letters.
So pretty.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it?
This is, and it's basically like all. So this is where all of our text piece homework comes home to roost. Like, all of you have been studying these things. Like, you can get excited when Sheriff Gia Whitechapel of the Blight Spoke shows up, and it's like, oh shit, I remember her. I read about her, how she showed up at that place, and now she's here with a big floppy hat and like a giant gun. That's dope. We get all of our. We're basically seeing the Araco side of the sword bearers. including one who may well end up being my favorite new character introduced this year.
I have a guess.
Yeah. No, man. Ur-Pogg. The fucking four-arm, he's like a giant four-armed crocodile Godzilla dude with like his own scarab sword. And he basically he speaks about himself in the third person, which when your name is Ur-Pogg, like you're really just throwing out like any kind of, word economy there when you're trying to have a conversation. But yeah, and he's like a giant, like it's insane, like it's crazy. And like his prophecy, which is Ur-Pogg's Pogg in Ur-Pogg's Pogg, but Pogg's Ur-Pogg Pogg, then in Ur-Pogg Pogs. There's no way that wasn't about Pogg. Like, there's no way they were like, God, who is this about?
Yeah.
Who? Fuck, we got everyone except this last one. Ur-Pogg's like, perhaps like that dude, come on, we're trying to figure this out. Can you stop bothering us, please?
Yeah.
We have important prophecies that we're trying to figure out. We don't need a four-armed Godzilla crocodile in here yelling his own name out all the time.
Okay. So, all right, let's break it down, all right? Let's start with the beginning. Let's see. Ur-Pogg's Pogg.
That's probably his, that's probably sword. It's someone with a wait. On Earth they have a game called Pogs. Go get all the Pogs from Earth, and we'll figure this out.
We have to go back in time to the 90s. Oh man, yes.
How messed up was it that the Araco side of the gate that they had to build was all out of bodies?
Yeah, they're like, I mean, well, again, as we said, technically the one on our side is one body.
Yeah.
But also we haven't talked about it that much. I think we touched on it a little bit in the last episode. But how cool in general are all of these character designs for these Araco sword bearers? Like, holy crap. Like, whoever is responsible this, my hat is to you.
I think Iska's the only one I'm kind of just like, the color-wise, trying to just make everything out because her skin seems to be the same color of her clothes at times, and it's just like, what is she supposed to really? I mean, I'd like to see her without her armor for once, just to see. I don't know if the color on color really works for her.
Oh, is that the one that's basically like in all red?
Okay. Red, yeah.
Where it's basically, where it's completely wordless. They show up, she's at a bar, they're kind of like, It's like, let's do this.
Yeah,
thumbs up.
Exactly. You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Exactly. And and also too, like all the sword, like they've done a pretty good job. I mean, aside of the swords that have already previously existed, like Grass Cutter and stuff like that. Like when Death, who I got to admit it, I'm always a sucker for like jackal-headed looking things. Maybe I saw Stargate too many times. I don't know, but like when he shows up and he gets the black bone of Duat, that's a cool looking sword, man. Again, and he gets to have his like, I'm gonna hold the sword and guitar riff moment.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, now here's one thing that puzzled me as I was reading this, and maybe you guys can help me figure this out, because I'm kind of dumb sometimes. They had 10 people, and the X-Men people that I was counting. So we've got I'm just kind of scrolling through here and getting everywhere. We got Captain Avalon, Captain Britain, Cypher, Magic, Apocalypse, Wolverine, Storm, Gorgon, And
Cable.
Cable. Who's our 10th dude?
There is only 9 since Gorgon has 2 swords.
Okay. That seems like
man, Gorgon has 2 swords, so Silver Samurai's like, what the fuck?
He's like, you even had an extra cat. Are you kidding me? And they're like, nah, dude. You know what? Do you want to pick up some shifts at the bar? We need someone cleaning dishes and stuff.
Or that's when they crouch and they rub his head. It's like, we need somebody to watch Krakoa, buddy.
Yeah, you can do that, can't you? Who's a good silver samurai?
They they kind of briefly go through all these Arakoians who they're getting to join. Red Root, I think, is somebody that I'm going to enjoy keeping an eye on. She just seems a bit more noble than the rest. So I'm kind of interested in that character.
I noticed that they have their own cipher.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is what she is.
Yeah, they all they do a pretty good job of, because even when you look at like the page where it's like they're like, all right, real quick, we're going to go into the blades of Arako. We're going to talk to you about, unfortunately, we're not going to tell you the length and weight of all of these swords, that kind of time. But there's some very interesting similarities, like the white sword of the Ivory Spire looks a lot like the Light of Galador. Ur-Pogg looks a lot like Throb's sword. Solemn's sword, now granted, you could say it looks a lot like the other Muramasa blade that Wolverine has, but it also kind of looks like Grasscutter / Godkiller. So it's interesting to see who gets paired up with all these different people.
Oh yeah, the let's see, the Vermilion looks like the sword, like the Wakandan sword. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
There is even a whole page for all the blades of Arako, and some of them have mutant powers, which I thought was, well, actually the characters, the powers of the characters. So it is cool that you get an idea of what the characters can
do.
Now that it just kind of hit me, like, what if they said, like, okay, so hey, remember those annoying annoying dinosaur guys on the X-Men arcade game? Can you do something like with that, but make them cooler? Like that they told, and
they're like, and then call him Pogg or Pogg. Well, they're like, well, yeah, obviously, Doy. What else are we gonna call him?
But then, and then was it Pepe Larraz says, "I got you, fam."
He's like, I've been holding on to this for a long time.
Because like that was the first thing I thought of. I was just like, oh, I hated those little dinosaur guys at the X-Men arcade game.
So, looking at the characters too, the Summoner, his birth name is stricken from the record, which I thought was, okay, that's different. They'd never hinted at that before.
Yeah.
Red Root is a pure blood mutant reclaimed from Ameth. Annihilation is all blacked out. So I really enjoy this issue, and then of course at the end we have the meetings of the two sides, and every X-Men character gets a specific card, tarot card, and it doesn't look good for some people. But I love how Apocalypse is just so angered by the card he gets. He has to go confront Saturnine, and of course she brings him to meet Annihilation, and then we do learn that his card was Lovers, and lo and behold, as we all knew, Annihilation is Genesis.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild times, man. We're like halfway through. We're a little over halfway through. let me tell you, like if all big to set up like the flow that all of these issues have going one into the other, it's seamless to my mind. Like it really and truly reads like you're basically just reading individual chapters of a much larger novel. And I dig that. Like usually, like when you have these big crossovers, there's one or two. It's like the wheels on a grocery cart. You know, like three of them are doing exactly what they're supposed to, and you've got that one tie-in book or one issue that's just flopping around. It's just like like it's not. You know, like, all right, come on, guys, let's get on the same page. I don't feel like there's any of that in this at all. Like it's clear, it's, you know, flows well. I dig the hell out of it.
Pog your pog, if you will.
Pog your pog, man. You know, when you need your pogs or pogged, did you pog or pog?
Yeah.
When I pog or pog, you pog or pog.
It just sounds dirty.
And I still don't, you know, I'm still new to Twitch, but poggers is a thing. It's a term. Like to show, like, I want to say it's like a show of excitement or something. Like, you know, poggers. they that's a thing, and it's like a meme of some dude. Like I don't know. I still haven't looked it up on what it is, but that's also a thing. So maybe that's trolling on that. But like this is like, I hope it's like Smurf language for him.
Yeah. If it's not, then what are we even doing here? You know,
Yeah.
like we're trying to have a society here. Can we just use pog or pog as a noun, verb, and adjective all at once?
All right, so before we end, let's jump into these little tarot cards and these prophecies that we've got coming up. The first one, Nine of Swords, which I believe was for Captain Britain, right?
Let me get to the tarot card portion of the evening.
Yeah, get to the tarot cards, and I'll
Captain
stay
Britain.
with the prophecies, because
Yes.
I do believe
Yes.
they're in order.
Captain Britain.
All right, so for Captain Britain, her card, it's saying, this is for when you are ruining yourself with your own fears and nightmares. But as they say, just because you're paranoid does not mean they're not after you. Not many of the cards are bad, but this is a bad card.
Well,
So,
yeah, her card is
that
her, like, with 9 swords stabbed into her.
So she's probably not going to be surviving this or coming out of this unscathed, then, huh?
Yeah. And then
is that her sword,
right.
or is that Captain Britain's sword?
Yeah, it's not particularly clear. I mean, they're just sort of like weird blue energy swords, so they could very well be like psychic swords that she's being impaled by.
Or does it look like one of the Baraka swords?
Yeah, I mean, it's your basic sword, you know.
It could be Annihilation or the Summoner. They look kind of like those two in particular.
All right. Then we've got Two of Cups,
which is Cypher.
All right. It is said the Lovers is not the card of true love. This one is. Harmony is this one's future, but it can be perilous to form such bonds in times of war.
Now, interesting about this one, I didn't notice this upon first reading. The way the page is laid out, you've got Cypher on one bottom, like the left-hand side of the page. In the middle, you have the card, which shows obviously Cypher standing in front of someone else. And then on the right-hand side, you have Gorgon, implying that Gorgon is the other person in the Lover's card, which, I mean, you want to talk about the odd couple, there you go.
Well, I didn't see it that way. And the main reason, one of the biggest reasons I didn't see it that way is because Gorgon's card,
Yeah,
which
I
is
love to
the
say I don't know.
hidden card.
The silhouette almost looks like a buff chick, like
Yeah,
almost like a She-Hulk.
yeah, it's hard to say, but I mean, they don't really have a clear. I mean, depending on like what we get from the
Sure.
actual
Yeah.
things, because I'm at that page, they don't really show what Gorgon's card is.
But that's the thing. So let's read what his is, because his card is hidden. This is the one that let me know this was not an ordinary reading. This card would only show me the back. I flipped it to reveal itself, and wouldn't you know, another back. I flipped it again and again, picked it up to examine it. Somehow I had a card with no message. But even nothing can be someone. Yes, so I pass it along. So his card is two-sided. It's back on both sides of it. So that's kind of when I realized that he had nothing to do with Cypher.
Okay.
But yeah, at first glance, it did seem like they may have gotten the same card. If they had gotten the same card, it would be a different story.
Okay. Yeah, I gotcha.
Gorgon says for Gorgon's tarot flip card, and the other side says for Gorgon's tarot flip card.
They're like watching him on the security camera. Let's see how long he keeps flipping the card for.
Meanwhile, we have Silver Samurai and Krakoa. Like, can't do it with your fucking tarot card, huh? Mister, I got two swords.
All right, next we've got the Knight of Pentacles.
Which is Pentacles. Or Pentacles, whichever.
Pentacles.
Heracles, Pentacles, whichever way you want to go. And that is Brian, Captain Avalon Braddock.
All right. Sometimes these are called coins instead of pentacles, for they speak of practicality and prosperity. This man has no master plan, but will work for what must be done. Could money be in his future? I don't know if he would have worked for what must be done, because he didn't put the work in before.
I've got to say, my money, and I know that, people staying dead, that's a sucker's game, but I feel like Brian Braddock, especially since he's not actually Captain Britain anymore, I feel like he might be on borrowed time in this one.
He gets to ride a fucking griffin, though.
Yeah. It's pretty dope.
All right.
Next is Magic.
Next up, Page of Wands. Like the knight, the page is a person, a tricky one, clever, never stuck in one place, arrogant, but a good friend to have.
Yeah, she's just like nice.
Yeah, she's like that's me. The doy.
All right, then we got the Fool.
Who is Cable. Yeah.
Do not be offended. The tarot is sometimes called the journey of the fool. The fool does not know things yet, but he will learn. Ah, the folly of youth.
Which I think is exceptionally fitting for Teen Cable, because obviously he's got a lot to learn before he becomes big old Grandpa Cable.
Yep. All right, we got Strength, which
that is Wolverine, and the card is him being choked out by the summoner.
Yeah, the grandkid.
Do not be flattered. This speaks not of the strength of biceps, but of the strength of will, strength of heart, strength of focus. This is one who endures.
Yeah,
okay?
Makes sense.
All right, then we've got Death, which I believe is Storm.
And the tarot card is her riding a horse with the looks like an army of the undead.
And we have a character named Death as well. I wonder if there's a relation. Do not be afraid. This is not the card of failure or decay, but of the natural harvest. The season before can never come again. Metamorphosis.
Which is very interesting. Does that mean we're going to be seeing a a big status quo change for Storm.
Yeah, is she gonna be the one who dies and is resurrected different? I mean, can they do something like that to a beloved character like Storm?
That's a hard sell,
Yeah.
especially when you look at Storm as being probably, at least for Marvel, if not for all of like superhero comics, the preeminent African American female superhero character. Like you start messing with that, I feel like you got problems. Like that's
Yeah. There may be some issues.
We got plenty of other characters you could mess with. Let's leave Storm the way she is. I mean, if it's tweaks and stuff like that, that's cool. But and then of course we come to the Apocalypse card.
The Lovers. This card is indeed a tale of lovers, but they have been lovers. The presence of this card can portend a great test where once there was harmony. Well, sorry, where there was once harmony. Well, they've already hinted that the mask is what takes over the person who wears it. So, in order to free Genesis, somebody worthy would have to take the mask over and rule Arakko or Amneth.
That would be
Any takers?
That would be a very interesting new status quo for Apocalypse. If you basically like flip Apocalypse and you make him basically the big bad of Arakko, and
then Genesis has to help.
Or something along those lines.
Krakoa.
Yeah.
Back to the Storm thing. I'm just on the Arakko and death. The mutant power is the eyes of death. And I don't know, and maybe there's some significance there, like because her card like has her with all like the red eyes, or like the dead, like her army dead have like a bunch of like red eyes and things like that.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like this is an event where literally anything could happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like there's no real guarantees for anyone, and it would be very interesting to see how they end up messing with or even just like the whole notion of, hey, we can resurrect someone who died there, but they're going to come back way wrong, and like
they're gonna come back an amalgamation of their multiple reality version of themselves. Like we don't quite know what kind of person will get out of it. So in that terms, it's messed up for listeners who's not familiar with what that is. What's going on with that?
Did the other side get tarot cards as well?
That's a good question.
And Ur-Pogg is just like, it just says Ur-Pogg. He's like, fuck.
He's like, oh god, I got the Ur-Pogg card again. I always get this one. That's some stereotyping right there.
He's like, this is bullshit.
But yeah.
If you only know what's coming, guys.
Well, we'll find.
I can't.
We'll find that next month.
I can't help but to. I can't help but to read this stuff as it comes out. But yes, we've got some very interesting times.
I will fully admit, a lot of times, just my comic reading in general, even before doing this show, I would read stuff like in big chunks. Like I wouldn't read anything for like 2 or 3 weeks, or sometimes even a month and a half, and then get a bunch of stuff, and then chew through it over the next like week or two. I am probably going to be picking this stuff up right as it comes out and reading it. Now granted, these ones I read pretty much all the way through over the course of like 2 days. And it made me appreciate the continuity a little bit more. So it'll be interesting to see if that changes, reading them as they come out. But yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff in this.
And I'm definitely realize how much I'm enjoying it because weekly, once I read these books, I'm good for comics for a little bit. I don't have to read everything else that came out that week. It kind of just scratches that itch, and then I'm good.
Fucking Ur-Pogg, man.
Yeah. When I pog, you pog, Ur-Pogg.
The episode should
I think
just
we have
be
an episode
Ur-Pogg.
Yes, and we've run long, of course, but I do believe it was a special occasion. So let's go ahead and wrap it up for the night. Viet, oh, actually,
Is it my turn?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is Viet. Yep. What do we got going on for next episode?
Let's see. We got some more. We got some more Ten of Swords. I think. Like another 11 chapters. I think.
Oh, do we finish in November or does it?
Actually, let me check. Yes, X of Swords Destruction #1 is on November 25th. So we'll cover so the end of it, right? Unless there's like some aftermath issues.
Yeah, that is chapter 22.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we'll be finishing Ten of Swords. Sorry, and that'll be November's books.
All right. So go ahead and plug your stuff, including your marathon, even though it's already over. Let people know what you do.
I make custom action figures, just custom toys in general, and I do that via Twitch live stream every Sunday and Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, in the regular social medias, at Comedian Viet on all the social medias, and comedianviet.com is my website.
All right, and what do you got then, Thatch?
Oh man, you can find me on Instagram, Tumblr, and Twitter at Demon Weasel. You can check out my website, www.demonweasel.com, where you can also you can purchase books and comics that I have written or been a part of. And then you can, as we talked about at the top ago, you can find me on Patreon, where patreon.com/DemonWeasel, where I've got previews, kind of looks at what I've been working on that month, a bi-monthly newsletter, and then I'm also working on a Patreon exclusive D&D inspired fantasy series. The first part of which normally it is just exclusive for sort of like the top level Patreon supporters, but you will be able to read the first part of that for free. By the time this comes out. I haven't done it yet, but between then and now, odds are I've got nothing else going on in my life. All I need to do is just adjust, just get out at the post, and it'll be fine. It'll be there. But I'll be talking about that a lot on our, on all my various social medias and such.
All right. Listeners can find me at EMPcast on Twitter. Do not forget about our Facebook group. Come hop on there, chat with us, share with us. Doesn't even have to be comics related. We're always there just to shoot the breeze and hang out and have a good time. So we are a proud member of a few podcast networks. We can find us and a host of other podcasts. There is the hashtag #TheCollectiveNet on Twitter, and the Comics Podcast Networks at comicspodcasts.com. And with that, we are out. We ran a little bit long this month, but go out there, enjoy your Ten of Swords, and look forward to seeing you guys.
They go freaking Ur-Pogg, man.
Oh, Ur-Pogg 2024.
We're gonna end it with that one, Ur-Pogg 2024. All right, yeah. Throw an episode title for me there, and I'll work on the art tomorrow and probably just get this pushed out tomorrow. I don't think. I have a lot on my plate, so we should be able to get it out.
All right.
All right, Thatch. I will talk to you later, man.
Take care. Good
episode, guys.
Good luck with them kids.
Thanks.
Yeah, man. Hang in there, both you guys.
Hey, 2020 is almost over.
We're in the home stretch now. All we got to do is fight the fire Godzillas and murder beavers, and we'll be all set.
Yep. you see that meme of like someone like clock strikes 12 and it says like January 32nd. You're just like, no. Or December 32nd.
Yeah, or January 1st, 2020 again.
Yeah.
Like, no.
We'll